Welcome once more, guys. I hope you are doing good. Today we are going to discuss something on clomiphene in relation to fertility, gender determination, and twin studies. And before that, I will request you to just take a second and press subscribe button so that in case we release a new video, YouTube will automatically notify you. But before that, let's sanitize, because it is a regulation for health that we sanitize most of the time so that we resist the coronavirus. Welcome. So in relation to clomiphene, which is a clomid, it is a ovulatory stimulant drug. This drug will compete estrogen and instead will facilitate ovulation, and after ovulation is where we'll start discussing life, and from there we'll discuss fertilization, and we'll later discuss how to successfully do fertilization, and we have either single child or twins. Okay. Before that, we look at fertility. Fertility, in simple terms, means the successful production of mature sex cells in the right number, the right quantity. Because we have those who can produce sex cells, but they are not of good standard and good quality. For example, we have characteristic of sperm, and we also have characteristic of ovum that will give a successful fertilization and will give as desirable characteristics of the offspring in terms of morphology, in terms of genetics, and in terms of cognitive development. First, we have the characteristic of sperm. Sperm should be of the right shape. Sperm must move normally, and the sperm must have a strong tail to be able to circulate and navigate up to the right point where fertilization will take place. However, we have factors that determine the flow and the navigation of sperm. These factors will as well determine or affect fertilization, as we are going to see factors that will promote fertilization. On the other hand, we also have ovum. Ovum, as we know, we have ladies that are having their regular and irregular ovulation period, and in a normal circumstances, we have a 28-day cycle for the regular individual. So for fertilization to successfully take place, there must be ovulation for the mature ovum, and there must be a good quality and right quantity of sperm that will travel up to the fallopian tube to meet the ovum. So clomiphene will do the following. Clomiphene or clomid will increase the testosterone serum, and this testosterone serum is what led to the production of sperm in the testicles. As well, clomiphene will stimulate ovulation, as it will facilitate the production of follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone. These are the hormones that are responsible for the maturity of the ovary and the release of the mature ovum. And at the same time, they are the hormones that are responsible for fertilization in both female and males. So we'll look at the effect of clomiphene later, but as for now, we'll discuss the determination of gender. Gender means a boy and a girl in simple terms. How will you determine, or how will you manipulate gender? First, we have consideration. We look at the consideration as far as the female genitalia is concerned, and we look at the male genitalia. For example, the factors as far as the female genitalia is concerned will manipulate gender determination looking at the following factors. First, we look at the pH of the genitals of the female. Second, we'll look at the position during the sexual intercourse, as well as the time for sexual intercourse. For instance, we have the two sex hormones, so two sex chromosomes. We have the X and Y chromosomes. As we know, X is the chromosome that have the genetics for a girl, and Y chromosomes that have genetics for a boy. Looking at the characteristic of this chromosome, X chromosome, or the gametocytes that carry X chromosome have certain characteristics. X chromosome, to sperms carrying X chromosome, they are liable to acidic media. So for us to determine whether the gender will be male or female, we have to manipulate pH. As X chromosome, they are viable under acidic condition, and Y chromosomes are not viable under acidic condition. So for that case, when we want a male child or a female child, we'll either increase the pH for the male and also decrease the pH for the female. Increasing the pH means we make the genital to be basic, and decreasing the pH means we make the genital to be acidic. Two, we have the sex position. Sex position, this one will enable or will create distance for the traveling of the sperm. We have the characteristic of a sperm carrying X chromosomes. These sperms are they have greater energy or greater swimming potential. So with them, they can be deposited any part of the body, so long as they can find themselves inside the genital tract up to the point of fertilization. And Y chromosomes, they lack the swimming potential, hence they require to be deposited next to the cervix. So for that instance, when you want to find a male child, you need to find a sex position that will enable the sperms to be deposited next to the cervix. This distance factor will enable the sperms carrying the X chromosome to travel a shorter distance to the site of fertilization, compared to X sperms that can travel a longer distance to the fertilization position. Hence, we have the different types of sex position, where we have the quadrupedal, where we say the doggy style, for instance, and we have the normal style, which you just deposit sperm and the vulva, and the sperm travel. The quadruped style will ensure the sperms are deposited just next to the cervix. That one is a factor. 3, we have nutrition or nutritional factor. Nutritional factor, this where we subject a lady to certain diet that will ensure there is a favorable factor. For instance, when you want a boy, you give a non-acidic foods, and if you need a lady or a girl, you give acidic foods. As we have discussed, how the pH of the genital tract affects the sex of the child. On the side of a man, we look at the sperm count. A normal male will produce 15 million sperm cells and above per ejaculation. This counts for the others which will die on the way, and others which will be blocked from getting into the ovum after fertilization. So in case the male is not producing enough quantity, it is not possible to determine the gender, because most sperm will die on the way and will remain with a less or a few number of sperm cells that will reach the ovum. That one to leave aside. We'll also look at we look at now the fertilization and how or what happens after the fertilization, and this will give us 2 options where the fertilization will take place on either side or in both sides of the ovary. That will give us 2 different forms of births. We have a single birth and a twin birth. So in case there is a fusion on the other side, when there is one ovum produced, the sperm will fertilize one ovum, of which, if there is a division, we have a multiple division or a single division. So multiple division will either give us twins, and single division will just give us one gravite. So how is it possible to determine or to influence giving birth to a twin or a single child? Well, this study has not revealed very well, but through the science and the laboratory technique, we are able to devise a method on how to give a twin. For those who maybe want to give birth once or twice, maybe they want 3 child for the first birth and 3 child for the second birth, and they close. So for that case, okay, we have not said something on the number of embryos formed during fertilization. We find in a female they produce a lot of eggs, and these eggs are fertilized almost at the same time. Only what matters how many will reach the site of implantation. For instance, fertilization can occur between 5 sperm cells and 5 ovum cells, but the one that will reach the site of implantation is only 1 or 2 or 3. So the number of embryos or the number of gravids formed during fertilization may be more than 1. So that one is also another factor where we look at, and that one may possibly give us the one birth or the single birth or the multiple births. Okay, so let us now look at how to manipulate or how to study the twin birth. Okay, so twin birth, we have said it is where we do it artificially and we convert it in a natural way. So this is a point where we can withdraw sperm from a man and withdraw egg from a lady. We fuse them within a test tube and we insert or we inject them into the uterus in the point of implantation. This one is possible to give even more than one birth, but in that case we may not be sure of the identical or the fraternal types of twins. But for the case of the subdivision of the natural fertilization, there we can either have identical twins which comes from the same ovum and fraternal twins that come from different ovum. So fraternal twins may have different characteristics, where identical twins may have the same characteristics. So in this case of artificial fertilization to give twins, we can as well produce more than one gravate. So after the fertilization in a tube, we inject the gravate on the uterus. Then the gravate will automatically implant because it will undergo a natural process for implantation. So this one we can implant more than one gravate, and that one will give us twins. So let us now come to our drug of choice during or when we are discussing fertility, birth, and twin studies. The clomiphene. The clomid is a drug that will start from or will initiate the process of ovulation and the sperm production, and that is why it is very, very important to know how or where or when to take the clomiphene. The clomiphene, a drug of choice for infertility, is given to everyone who is not able to produce the right quantity, the right quality of the sperm cell and the ovum cell. So clomiphene is as we have said, it's an ovulatory stimulant, and as well it is an anti-estrogen, in that they compete in the initiation of the follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone in female, and as well as it increases the testosterone level, serum level in men. So clomiphene is given, or clomiphene normally comes in a dose of dosage of 50 milligram, and we have a loading dose and a maintenance dose. Loading dose for clomiphene for sometimes can give it at 50 and sometimes at 25. And for the female, they can take clomiphene so long as they want to get pregnant, and for men, they can take clomiphene for 2 to 3 months. So that one is 60. That one is 30 to 60 or to 90 days, because we know very well a sperm will take 90 to 100 days from the point of production to the point of ejaculation. So alongside that, we can look at precautions when taking clomiphene. because I know after this the problems of some people will be solved, where one is complaining or who is not fertile, who is not, or who is fertile. So I know people will go for the clomiphene to solve their family issues. So for instance, we have precautions we take into account when we are taking clomiphene or clomid. First, when you are pregnant, you don't need to take clomiphene, because the main objective of taking clomiphene is to become pregnant. As again, clomiphene is an hormone, or it is an hormone-like drug. So when we have hormonal disturbances, we don't need to take cravid. Again, we have some effects of clomiphene that we need to take into account, like we have the ovarian cyst. Those who have ovarian cyst do not take clomiphene, because clomiphene in itself may cause polycystic ovarian cyst. Again, clomiphene has an effect of visual disparment. So when you are having a visual disturbance, you are advised not to take clomiphene. Apart from that, we can talk of the side effects of clomiphene. As you know, all drugs, they are poisons, and they can cause danger, harm to the user. So clomiphene, first, when you take clomiphene, you will experience first visual disturbance, you may have stomach disturbance that may lead to diarrhea, there are nausea, and many others. So up to there, I will say thank you, and I request you to give a thumbs up for those who have subscribed, and if you have not, please just subscribe, so that in case we release a new video, YouTube will automatically notify you. Thank you guys, and have a nice weekend. Welcome.